No, this is not only about student loans. And yeah, just get the word out because I know, I mean, a few years from now, we'll be looking good.
I am the bullish mindset, aka LUCIDVERSE on Twitter, and I've been buying SOFI since the first day it was rumored for IPOE, 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 IPOs. I also was watching this company grow from when it was a private company. It was on the CNBC disruptor list for 3 years straight, and now it's finally public. So I went in a lot. It's my second largest position. So let's talk SOFI.
Yeah, so today I wanted to talk to you guys about SOFI's newest announcement, a partnership with TaxBit. Just really excited about this because it continues into just looking into crypto as the company is trying to expand and look into what's next. Crypto definitely seems to fit that category. Excited to see that the other TaxBit network companies that we're in the same list with is Coinbase, Binance, PayPal, BlockFi, Gemini. Coinbase Pro is also on there, and now just added today is SOFI. So just really excited to be a part of this partnership. So TaxBit, what they do is they do tax and accounting for the tokenized economy. And they are the most trusted platform that unifies digital asset tax and accounting across different enterprises, consumers, and even governments. And so their whole thing is that they're a modern technology approach to the power of digital assets and accounting. They boast that they're designed by CPAs and tax attorneys, seamless integration, they're trusted by the industry. They have intelligent optimization, privacy and security focus, which we know is a huge thing when it comes to crypto. And then also they are trusted by the authorities, as they say. And then just looking around at their platform, it's just a really well-made platform. Excited that SOFI is going to be in the future of this company. Also wondering, I don't know, if Anthony Noto somehow struck up a conversation at Bitcoin 22 with this company, and they maybe got to chatting a little bit, and maybe Noto decided, hey, I think I want to be a part of this. But just overall, really excited to continue expanding into crypto because I think we all know crypto is going to have at least some part to do with the future of currency.
Yeah, and to add to that, for a lot of people that don't know with SoFi, they do offer 30 cryptocurrencies available to trade through SoFi, and they're actually growing that number. So I think for a lot of people that are into crypto, that maybe, let's just say they do use Robinhood and they want to try something new, I think SoFi is a great company to actually do that with. And now that they're growing with this tax bet thing and everything, I mean, what they're really trying to do is the one-stop shop. You know, I know a lot of people hear that all the time, but all these moves they keep doing, you know, it's for a reason. And I think that being said, especially if there's a huge crypto following, I think that's going to benefit SoFi down the long run for sure.
Well, for Catalyst for SoFi, you have the earnings call, which is, I believe, May 10th. And I have been hearing on some integrations that they're going to be making. I think King of Conviction can go back into that when it's back to his turn. But I know that SoFi is really trying to understand what customers want. Anthony Noto is very open with, following people that are big in the Twitter sphere for SoFi. And that's actually one of the things that I really like. And I also know that the integrations that are going to be allowed into SoFi, kind of like, options and stuff like that, it is something that we really, really want as SoFi users. And it's also going to be something that when you look at the Galileo and Technisys acquisitions, they're going to allow SoFi to really become the AWS of fintech. And I think it's going to be a very, very well-rounded group of leadership that SoFi has that's going to allow SoFi to continue to grow, whereas some of these other companies are not growing as quickly. King of Conviction can go into the options and other integrations for SoFi's app too.
Yeah, I think the Galileo Technisys thing, it's kind of like what I talk about every time we talk about SoFi, because no one really seems to understand that this is so much more than an app. And the investors who do see it are looking around thinking, guys, like, are we crazy? I've mentioned I watched the GameStop documentary. That's one of the lines that they mentioned and shared in that movie, is they were thinking to themselves, like, are we crazy? Is everyone else just not seeing what we're seeing? And I feel like as SoFi investors, that's where we're at in this part. We're thinking, guys, are you not seeing that this is the future of finance? And SoFi is basically building a tech company that is going to allow all of these other companies to continue to grow. And if you guys are new to Galileo, just want to share kind of what they do. So their whole thing is that they're expanding the financial frontier. And they are absolutely amazing. They're led by Derek White, the CEO, and he is known to be in these companies that are always cutting edge. Like every company he was in, even before Galileo, is always just working on the next thing. And so Galileo actually apparently has updated their website, which is really cool. They've got like 500 team members. They've got 5 different offices. They have 55 plus best-in-class platform partners. That is not clients, that is partners. Their clients number to about 150-ish. And they have about 100 million accounts across those different clients. And they have an annual payment volume of around $100 billion. And again, they were acquired by SoFi in May of 2020, and continued to have Derek White as the CEO. And then just going to Technisys real quick. They are the one core platform that really every bank is going to want to be on in the future. And so SoFi, by acquiring Technisys, allowed them to get into this space where they are going to be what people need for the future. And the way this whole triple tier tech stack works is SoFi is the parent company. What they do is they are the sponsor bank for Galileo and Technisys customers. But then Galileo and Technisys are able to cross-sell to each other. So Galileo's clients are able to offer all of their card issuing that they do. And Technisys is able to offer their one core AI platform to Galileo. And just absolutely underrated, extremely underrated as a company, I would say.
Yeah, and to add, go ahead. No, I was just going to say, to add to that, it's going to be interesting when you have Galileo, who, I mean, already has their own set of customers and everything. Now they're going to bring in Technisys, and then they're going to start working together, and they're going to be actually being able to benefit from each other's services and cross-sell to all their companies within each other, So I think that's going to be a huge revenue boost also for SoFi. And a lot of these platforms, if they can just deal with one company, now that Galileo and Technisys are pretty much going to be under the same umbrella, instead of outsourcing for so many different services to so many different companies, I think that's a pretty big catalyst as well for SoFi that we're going to see down the road, along with the bank charter as well. When that gets in full effect, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I feel like that's definitely something we haven't talked about as much as we probably should, is the fact that SoFi is a bank. It was a huge thing for maybe 3 days, and then everyone just kind of was like, "Oh yeah, SoFi," but they totally forgot we are a bank. We are a sponsored bank for all of these companies. And I'm so glad you brought that up, JJ, because I feel like with everything else that's been going on with this company, it was like maybe 3 days that we were hype and excited about the bank charter, and then everyone just like moved on, which I thought was weird because we hyped it up for maybe 6 months, up to a year even. And then 3 days later, we're like, oh, okay, cool. Yep, they got the bank license. We'll just move on. And with that, they even added on some brick and mortar companies too, which I believe expanded how much money they're able to take in. So that's just really exciting too.
Well, I do agree with King of Conviction. After the bank charter, there was no, there literally, I feel like investor sentiment just went down. It wasn't priced in at all. I mean, we were talking about it when SoFi was at $17, and then it just completely went on a downtrend, and it's completely cheap now. But at the end of the day, investors were very, very disappointed. It seems like even with the earnings beat that they had during the Q4 earnings call or earnings report, we're seeing that nothing can really bring up any of these growth companies. And it's not just SoFi. SoFi is one of those companies that's going to achieve great things because it's what King of Conviction brings up. It's SoFi technology. It's not SoFi app. And it's also, it's one of those companies that's disrupting and innovating the banking industry, which means that the companies that are in that industry are the ones that are also analyzing them, and the ratings are coming from the banking industries like Bank of America. So to say that everything has been priced in, it's not. It's just, do these banks want SoFi to succeed? No, they don't. But will the banks need SoFi? Yes, because they are going to be the AWS of fintech. They're not really competing with anyone else. Because I had a conversation with this, his name is Riley, Focus Notice. You guys need to check him out. But he has said these companies, SoFi really doesn't have a competitor other than maybe Capital One, because these companies are going to need SoFi. They're going to need the platform that SoFi has built, and they're going to take away a lot from what SoFi has done, especially, if you look at like Robinhood isn't doing student loans, home refinancing, personal loans, things like that to the extent of SoFi. They already have $30 billion touched from SoFi's loans. So I just think that we're looking at a company that's valued at around $5 billion, just did a $1.2 billion acquisition with Galileo, a $1.3 billion acquisition with Technisys. And you look and you're like, how is it only $5 billion? So it's definitely an undervalued company that you can increase your wealth very, very much if you just hold for 5 years. Okay, so you got it.
Yeah, so I really think that that's probably the safety net for the company, as far as share price goes. If they are bought out, maybe it's $15 a share, which I think would be extremely cheap. But I don't want to get into the hopium. So I'm just trying to give you guys some rough estimates of the lower end. So one thing I think people don't understand is the risk to reward on this stock, at least for me personally, is just unbelievable. I mean, even if they just about fail as a company, I guess they're still going to want to be bought out because of their technology. Like, no one is going to let Galileo and Technisys' technology go to waste. No one is going to let SoFi's 3.5 million members go to waste. And so I think even as a safety net at the low number is $15. And so my thought process has been, well, if I can just get my average cost under $15, I have just about a safety net. But if they do exceed as a company, I think within, I don't know, throwing out a random guess, 5 years, we could see upwards to $100 a share. So the risk to reward here just seems mind-boggling, really. And I just had to bring that up because that's something that's been on my mind lately. Is like, again, are we crazy? Is there something that we're not seeing? But I've been looking into this company daily with like 60 other people. And we just keep coming up with more and more reasons to invest in this company. And they do some really hard work, and I just want to, shout out to them, just say thank you so much for the work that they do.
Yeah, and adding to that too, I know you mentioned buyouts and everything. In my opinion, I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's an option. I think Noto is on a mission. I think right now, if I'm not mistaken, we're trading at what we were valued at in 2018. I believe we're at like 5 billion right now. That's not including in 2018 Galileo or Technisys, which there's 2 billion there. And aside from all the products they've already had, their members, everything else. So I think as far as value, I think if there were to be a buyout, I think the $15, $20 range would make sense. But do I think they do that? No, because I think they do sense that what they're doing is disrupting a big sector. And the banks, yeah, they do have a lot of money. So that could be towards our disadvantage if they were to get bought out. But me personally, I mean, I'm holding long term. So I think the future is looking good for them, and I know we got earnings coming up. Good news is they did do that adjustment on guidance. What a lot of people don't know is the first quarter wasn't affected at all. So I think it's going to be interesting to see membership growth. We did have the Super Bowl and everything like that. And I did get, on average, I know we did about 350,000 quarter 3 for member growth, and then about 523,000 for quarter 4. If we were to just average those two out, just to kind of just have an idea of how many members we're thinking about getting for Q1, it's about 430 to 450. So, I mean, they're doing everything right. The stock is getting crushed, but it's not just SoFi. And I want to make it clear to everyone that the entire sector and the overall market is just going down, and it's unfortunate when, yeah, you might have bought in at $10, $13, and if you're averaging down, great. But if you're not, there's going to be a point where this does turn around. So I think we do have those earnings coming up, and I think they're going to be good. I really do. I'm not expecting much, but I'm ready.
Yeah, I tweeted something out yesterday. I said, stop blaming one factor, which is Anthony Noto, for a stock price when the entire stock market is down due to macro factors. I'm seeing so many people on Twitter just bashing Noto as if Noto could do anything about his stock price with what's going on in our world right now, due to inflation and war and so many different things. So if I would just say an encouragement to any investors or traders is stop making the mistake of blaming a CEO for something that they can't even control. And also the fact that Noto is in a silent period right now, so he really can't even talk back to you guys. He can't defend himself. He's got earnings coming up. The man is focused. So just wanted to throw that out there as just like a, hey, stop bashing a CEO for this. There's so much more going on that we can't even see. Doesn't seem fair to blame it all on Noto.
Yeah, and I do want to make something clear to a lot of people that might be new to SoFi or have just this misconception of SoFi being a student loan company. I don't want to talk a lot about it, but I just want to make it clear that it only makes up 7% of their business for people that are really worried about that. Biden did come out today just to clarify this, and he said that he's considering ways of dealing with reducing student debt, but that forgiving $50,000 was not an option. So for the ones thinking they were going to completely forgive everything, that's out of the question. Now $50,000 is out of the question. We know Noto has came out and supported the fact that, hey, you know what? Let's help these people out. Let's give them, let's forgive $10,000, which sounds a whole lot more reasonable, you know? So it looks like that could actually be good news as well for SoFi, but I just want to make it clear that they've moved away from that portion of their business, and just wanted to just let everyone know that there's a big misconception right now on Twitter and all that stuff. And yeah, I think SoFi is going to be great without them. And then when they do come back, great. I mean, that's another revenue for us, you know? So that options trading, and then Zelle was the other thing that I think a lot of people are looking forward to. That's going to help our member growth a lot. I did see one interesting fact with the options trading. I know they're working really hard because I actually ended up calling SoFi, and one of the representatives mentioned that that's something they're going to be working on is their investment side. Robinhood actually makes 69% of their revenue from option trading, and I think that's unreal. You know, I think in 2020, in one of their quarters, they did 180 million in revenues, and 111 of that came from just options trading. You know, so I think that's going to be another positive catalyst for SoFi once they get that rolling too.
Yeah, no doubt. I think, I guess on a side note, I got some comments. I guess you guys couldn't hear me. I guess my mic wasn't set up, but you guys missed some fun comments. But that aside though, no, I completely agree with you. I think, like in general, I guess I agree with a lot of things that was said. Like Noto has been doing a lot of good things, and him buying as much as he did, I think there's a lot of stocks out there wish that they had a CEO like that. That's just plain and simple. He's done a lot of good things, and he's very vocal. So I personally really like him. There's nothing really negative about that, and I think a lot of people, similar to what you said, King of Conviction, like a lot of people are just blaming him when it's the market. It's innovative, and not only that, it's a disruptive company in one of the oldest sectors of the stock market. And they are like, I think it was, I can't remember, one of either LUCIDVERSE or King of Conviction previously when we spoke. I think a lot of the like technology, even a lot of the big banks still physically use are like, I think you guys said like 15 years old, 20 years old, something along those lines.
It's like 25 to 40 years old. The technology they're using to communicate is very, very old. And Derek White talks about it in a CEO interview.
Yeah, so it's like investing in a new company, like those big banks aren't just going to roll over easily. Like they have the money. I think even Bank of America, their market cap is 320, I think last time I checked, billion, and we're only 5, so we're a small fish, but we're a disruptive small fish. So I think that's one thing a lot of investors need to realize.
Yeah, Derek White actually mentioned that in that interview that King was talking about. He mentioned that he didn't want to mention the names, but 3 of the top 10 banks in the US right now are on a platform that has an ending life within the next, I believe it's 3 years or so, or 3 to 5 years. So those companies are going to have no choice to either do their own coding to survive or get with another company. And I mean, you look at SoFi, what they're doing with Galileo and Technisys, that's another interesting topic. You know, I mean, it's going to be crazy to see because those platforms some of them are 20 years old, some of them are 80 years old, you know, and they're going to have to make the switch. Here in Texas, I've been actually seeing a lot of locations of Chase, Bank of America closing down. You know, people just aren't going to the bank anymore. You're doing everything online. You're doing everything through your phone. People want easy access, you know, and the times I've had called SoFi, you know, the customer service is incredible. You actually feel a good relationship with them. You feel comfortable. I mean, that's something you want, especially with an institution that's handling your money, you know? So I think that's really important for SoFi. I know they've been working on their customer service a lot and interacting with a lot of people on Twitter. And I think that makes people feel comfortable, and I think people are just leaving the big banks now and they want something new. They want something different. And for right now, I think SoFi is that.
So I guess just keeping in line, all of us are portraying SoFi as like an extremely undervalued stock. There was a good comment that just was asked. So where do you guys see the bottom on SoFi? I know we're all long-term investors, but short-term, where do you guys see it?
Did you say bottom?
Yeah.
So I believe our book value is somewhere close to $5.50. Someone correct me if that's not right. I don't think we go under 6. I think the only way we go under 6 is if the market if Apple misses earnings drastically and the whole market tanks. But even then, I really think we only stay under there for maybe a few days because they're not going to put us under book value because once they do that, everyone's going to be buying the stock. And I also think that the short interest on our stock is kind of protecting us a little bit. I mean, we're up to someone correct me if I'm wrong here, 22 to 23% short interest. That gets dangerous for shorts. So yeah, I would say that's definitely something that we as SoFi investors should know about.
I think that the bottom for SoFi is going to be when the market for the growth sector bottoms, because I don't think that SoFi should even be anywhere near under $10. I don't think it should be anywhere near 15 with the bank charter and everything else that they've been doing. They are an incredible company that should not be valued any below $15 billion, especially with the acquisitions that they've made. You saw them on the in the Super Bowl. It was a home team it was the Rams, the home team that plays there. They actually got the Super Bowl. You're seeing content creators like Mr. Beast with 94 million subscribers, Bella Porch. I know we saw Logan Paul and Mark Rober. All of those guys have massive millions of people watching, and they were using that stadium to make the content. So all of those people are already starting to see SoFi. SoFi is actually doing all the right things to build their brand, and it's actually going to be a lot easier. Banks are obviously scared of SoFi. They're going to be able. It's basically like, remember during the digital age when all these companies had to go digital, or else they weren't going to be as profitable or as great. They had to go online. They had to physically use the web. It's going to be the same thing as these bankings and SoFi. If you want to survive, you're going to have to do what SoFi is doing. SoFi is just the first one to do it, and they're the most innovative and literally buying every company that is going to help them grow even faster. I mean, Galileo was absolutely amazing. The fact that they got them for that cheap, Technisys is absolutely amazing. I know that Derek White, King of Conviction talks about Derek White all the time, and it's really great. I know there's Chris Wilkson. Do you guys know about him? He was on the board, I think, of SoFi and Galileo. He's incredible too. He's one of the people that was advising these very, very young companies, and he has just basically he sold out of SoFi a little bit before, and that's when it caused a panic in the stock, and that's why the stock dropped a little bit too. But now when you look at it, this is Anthony Noto's baby when you think about it, and all those people that he has around him, surrounding him, and even on the board with 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 as well, because he was IPOE. All these people are innovative and disruptive minds. They just literally need the market to understand them. People don't need to understand SoFi. You just need to understand that SoFi is going to grow faster than anybody can actually even keep up with. And that's why people are like, oh, it's overvalued. But they just don't understand the growth model for SoFi. And Riley, when I was talking to him, he really explained that to me well. So that's a great interview that I'm going to be coming out with. But SoFi is an unbelievable company, and I'm only going to buy more of this company. Clay Wilkes.
You made an interesting point too about everything that's being held at SoFi Stadium. Another, I guess, big catalyst too, or big event that's going to be there. There's actually the college football championship next year. I believe 2023 is going to be held there. I mean, you're talking about another 50 million 100 million viewers again. WrestleMania is another one. I mean, that was back in the day, of course. I used to be real big time into wrestling, but I mean, that is another 100 million plus viewership, you know. And you brought up the board members, and I wanted to touch on that a little bit. So it is pretty interesting. And what do you guys think now that we have 3 seats available? The 3 that left, I believe, did have some sort of relation. I think one was the CEO from Technisys, I believe, and then the other 2 are SoftBank members. What do you think SoFi, I mean, is prepared to do? You think they have 3 people that they're just eyeing out that they're going to bring on, and it's just going to be somebody that's very experienced in the banking industry? Could it be an acquisition where they give somebody a board seat? Like, what do you guys think?
King of Conviction, I think this is your baby, possibly.
Yeah.
I'm just waiting on you.
I was just waiting to see if anyone was gonna. I would love to see anyone that is related bigger into fintech onto the board. I think at one point we had mentioned maybe even Chad Borton stepping up onto the board. If he's not, I don't have all this memorized. I have most of it, but I think Chad Borton was the one we had maybe talked about. If someone could fact check that. Did you say that the CEO of Technisys stepped down from the board? Is that what you said?
I'm not sure if it was Technisys or Galileo. I think one of them.
I don't know if it was either. We're live, right? Let's just check that real quick. I want to make sure we're getting out the right information. But yeah, I mean, anyone from PayPal, Venmo, Chime, I would love to see someone newer that could maybe continue with the flow of partnerships that we've been seeing that is just really impressive. Maybe even I think we could see someone from like a Coinbase, someone where they're making a stance, wanting to do more with crypto maybe, could be a space that we could see a board member.
Yeah, I wanted to clear that up. It's Clay Wilkes. That was the founder of Galileo. I was thinking. Yeah. Okay.
No, you're good. So yeah, I would love to see anyone that has a visionary mindset to go along with Noto's mindset, of just wanting to be, I mean, he said he wanted to be like the top 5 companies in the world or something like that at one point. This dude is not, he doesn't have a small vision. I mean, top 5 company would make a lot of us millionaires. So I would love to see anyone with a visionary mindset that matches Noto's join the board. And we got 3 seats, plenty of room. I know there's an insider joke in the group chat. We got a guy that owns a lot of shares. Insider group chat that he maybe he's joining the board. Just thought that'd be cool.
And for some new people listening in that don't know much about Anthony Noto, he was a managing director of Goldman Sachs, big time position. He was the CFO of the NFL and the COO of Twitter. So this guy, I mean, he knows what he's doing. And if there's somebody that I want running the company I'm invested in, I'm pretty sure it's him. Yeah.
One idea I had is maybe you see the CEO of both Galileo and Technisys step up and become board members, but that still leaves one more seat. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. I'd love for them to announce it on the earnings call, just to add to the catalyst of what I'm assuming will be a beat on earnings after seeing Linden Club absolutely crush their earnings. I think that we have more exposure than them. So I think we're going to beat by even more than that. And if we don't, I'll be shocked, really.
Yeah, especially like I think every previous earnings, like we've exceeded it by at least, was it 15 to 25% for revenue? So it's, unless we get another Bank of America downgrade right after.
Yeah. And they totally don't have a conflict of interest, right? I mean.
So here's a kind of an odd question for you guys. If, let's say, for instance, Anthony was on this, what question would you guys ask him? On a side note, Anthony, if you're watching, you should definitely join.
I would love to ask him what he's doing differently than other leadership. How is he leading in a way that is going to continue to keep the company at the front of this frontier, the financial frontier, as 𝗖𝗢𝗡𝗘𝗖𝗧 calls it? What's he doing differently that other companies aren't, would be what I would ask him.
I would probably say, where do you see yourself in 5 years? As an investor, I have a vision of where I think I see the company. I'd like to see Noto's perspective and see, just like in detail, what he really thinks, where he sees SoFi in 5 years. He's very successful. Everything he's done a great job. And I'd love to just hear his personal note on what he wants to accomplish with SoFi, And from what I've been seeing, I'm loving it. Just going into detail, I think it would be interesting to hear it from him personally.
Noto for president?
Right?
What about you?
I got you. So I wish Riley was on, because I feel like I'm just saying everything he said, but Anthony Noto wants SoFi to become the thing that really affects his whole career. Like, he wants to be known for this when it's all said and done, of Anthony Noto. Like you said, he worked. Did you say CFO of the NFL? I didn't even know that. That's incredible.
Yeah.
All the accomplishments that he's ever done. He wants SoFi to be the thing that he is remembered for. He is disrupting the banking industry that seems like you can't even disrupt it, and he is making changes so that all these banks can't even compete with them. They want them to need SoFi. It's kind of the similar thing with Palantir. No competition. It's literally just, you need us, we don't need you. What is the market going to value that at? Obviously, SoFi has been crushed since the entire SPAC market SPAC market and meme stocks, or growth, or whatever you want to call it, has been crashed. But the thing is, like, SPACs are only a great opportunity for companies that are innovative and disruptive to get to market very, very quickly. Which company was going to fund SoFi? Which bank was going to fund SoFi to go public from a traditional IPO? I don't think anybody would have. And if they would have asked for way too much shares, because they want ownership of this company so that they can probably take over. So SoFi had to go with 𝗪𝗡𝗪𝗡𝗖𝗧 and IPOE. And Anthony Noto, he's actually been known for SPACs. Like, he knows how this world works. Like, you see Anthony Noto, and you just know that he's going to be one of the next great CEOs. You know that he is passionate. You know that he is determined. You know that this is all he wants. There's some CEOs that are just cash grabbing money, and they're not the ones that started their companies. Like, founders are the ones that really are the missing. When you have a company and you don't have a founder running it, I don't really like those companies. I know that Elon Musk is with Tesla. That's like a different story, because that's Elon Musk. But with anybody else, I want the actual founder to run the company, because I feel like the upside is greater. You see that with Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. I see that with Anthony Noto and SoFi. SoFi literally could be honestly valued as a $60 billion company tomorrow, and I wouldn't be surprised. That's 12x. But the thing about it is, we are here, so we are so low that this is basically free money. Obviously, it kind of can hurt, because we could get bought out, which would be great for shareholders in the near term, but I don't want to get bought out. I see the opportunity in here, and I'm like, if this company doesn't get bought out and finds a way to continue to acquire companies the way that they're doing, they're going to disrupt the banking industry, and we're going to be very, very wealthy. Everybody that invests at this point, you're going to tell your family that you invested into SoFi at these levels. They're going to do stock splits. They're going to do all of these different things, because they are at their inflection point at growth right now. Everything the company is doing is incredible. Everything the stock is doing is terrible. The entire stock market is backwards. You're trying to tell people to buy like Netflix before it burst. Like you saw in Jim Cramer's top 6, all 5 of those, every single one of those companies is down, and the other one was Tesla. And the report came out how bad they were doing when Tesla was 1,000. So now it's at 880. Every single one of those companies went down. Basically, all retail investors don't know where to look, and they get pointed in these different stocks that are terrible. When you look at SoFi, there's a lot of content creators out there trying to get you into SoFi because they understand how amazing this company is and how they want you to invest into it. Because you have an opportunity to invest in a 10 bagger right here in front of you, and it's easily one of the easiest decisions that you can make as an investor, in my opinion. And Anthony Noto is only going to increase that upside for me.
Yeah, and add into that, when you have a company that is a disruptor in a sector, and not to make a comparison at all, but like a Tesla in the automobile industry, they went through a lot of pressure, a lot of shorting. These big companies, they can't have that for them. Why? Because it's not beneficial to them. Amazon in the 2000s with online and everything, they went through a really tough battle too. And I'm not comparing them in any way, but when you have a company that is literally disrupting an entire sector, do you think these big banks want SoFi to succeed? Heck no. They need that stock to go down and down and down. So once they do overcome this, I mean, like you're saying, the sky is the limit for them, and that's exactly why I'm investing, and every now and then, every week or two, I am averaging down. I am buying more shares because my outlook is 5 years, and if it doesn't go the way I planned in 5 years, so be it. But if it does, we are going to make a killing.
I will say one thing. First off, SoFi just broke over 650, so we must be doing something right on this live stream. That's amazing. Bullish for the stock. But I will say, as much as we talk about SoFi, I want everyone to know, just as a safety precaution, do not marry a stock. The only reason we're talking about SoFi so much is because we've done the research for weeks, months. I've even done it close to years. And this is a company that we are looking into, not biased, looking into it, trying to figure out what's next. Because we all want to be financially safe. I mean, I want to be a financially sound adult. That's the whole reason why I'm investing, to be able to be financially sound adult and to be able to give back to others. But seriously, do not fall in love with the stock. If there was something that comes out as bearish, all four of us would be reporting on it just as much as we're reporting on what is bullish. So just as a disclaimer, do not fall in love with the stock. I've done it before, and you will tank your portfolio every single time, because you can marry a stock, but they will divorce you in a heartbeat. So just a quick public disclaimer.
No, I completely agree. I think, you have to always be an investor first and have your own best interest. And for instance, if this upcoming earnings and they say, you know what, I don't know, something really bearish and changes your mentality, you have to adjust as an investor. But I think one thing that I really liked about SoFi and the fintech is there was a couple articles that came out about profit margins, and that's one thing I really like looking at, is the bare bones. And typically, as high as it is, I think it is at the traditional banks. For instance, I keep mentioning Bank of America because I invest in them. I think their profit margins are roughly about 78%. And the anticipated for SoFi is going to be roughly about 80, 85, 86%. So because it doesn't have a lot of those brick and mortar, those fees, consistent fees, is a lot more cheaper. The upfront costs are a little bit higher, which unfortunately we're kind of seeing in the previous earnings, but still very profitable. So this is where TraderJJ, and you kind of have to have a good combination. You have to like the stock, but you have to have a long-term mentality. That's where you'll make the most. That's my own 2 cents. Let us know if you have any comments, questions in the chat. If not, we can LUCIDVERSE, did you have anything that you wanted to bring up? Or King of Conviction? I know either or.
Yeah, so with SoFi, I definitely see, when you're looking at other banks and stuff, that they could acquire us easily if they wanted to with their money. The one thing is, I would think that if they did start to purchase shares heavily, I think that Anthony Noto would get investors into doing the exact same thing. So it would have to be a acquisition that Anthony Noto would agree upon. And I also think that when you look at SoFi's potential, Anthony Noto doesn't want to sell whatsoever. So the Galileo and the Technisys, obviously, I was buying before that, but that just was icing on the cake for me when you look at this company. And you're seeing a lot of the companies in the growth market that are signing these incredible deals. You saw Lucid with a 50K purchase order from the Saudi Arabia government with an upside to turn that into 100K, and the stock hasn't moved at all. I mean, Rivian and Neo were both performing better than it yesterday, even though it was the deal happened Monday, or Tuesday. So I think that when you look at the entire growth market, we're going to continue to probably get really great news. We're going to kill earnings, in my opinion. We're going to have integration to Zelle and options, and the stock price might not move. Once it does move, though, I don't think that anyone's going to stop it. This is one of the highest shorted stocks on the entire market, and we are going to squeeze a lot of shorts out of their positions. I mean, you can make a lot of money whenever the market is one way, but you're going to lose it right back in there if you're greedy. And that's exactly what's going to happen, in my opinion.
I think one thing that we don't talk about as much as we probably should is the partners that SoFi has. And so I just went to my SoFi D&D thread on my Twitter, just trying to figure out some different things. And we're actually partnered with Lemonade, that a lot of people don't know about, for renters and homeowners insurance. We're partnered with Gabby by Experian for auto insurance. I know we were talking in the group chat yesterday, and someone was talking about, why doesn't SoFi do auto insurance? I was like, dude, they do. They literally are your one-stop shop. They partner with Alight Solutions for student loans. For home improvement, they partner with My Cocoon. For life insurance, they partner with Ladder. And they actually have, if I'm understanding it correctly, they have their own small business loans called Lantern, which is made by SoFi. And so all of these different partners combine to make SoFi what it is. And you don't get those partnerships if you're not a growing company. Like, for example, Lemonade is a great company. They're not going to partner with just some no-name company that they don't think is going to grow. And then another partner we have is Pagaya, which I also think people don't understand how Pagaya works. I believe, if I'm understanding it correctly, the way it works is if SoFi doesn't want to take on the risk of a loan, they can sell it to Pagaya, which goes straight to SoFi revenue. And so if there's a loan that they're like, hey, we don't know about the risk of this, Pagaya, do you want this? If Pagaya says yes, then they get revenue from that. And so when that partnership was announced, that was one that completely did not affect the stock price at all. And in my opinion, anything that impacts revenue, in my opinion, should be impacting the stock price. So on top of Pagaya and bank charters and Technisys and Galileo, there's just too much here for an investor to look at this and go, I think I want to buy a few shares of this. And for me personally, I think everyone knows it's kind of my thing. It's 100% of my portfolio. I'm not looking to sell my SoFi shares anytime soon. I'm looking for that financial freedom. So just wanted to share a little bit about their partnerships.
So I'm pretty sure we're all SoFi investors. What's your guys' average? If you care to bring it up.
Mine is like high. I started buying at 17, but I didn't care. It was exactly when it was IPOE. They had just said it. I was like, this company's going to like 50 easy. Then it just didn't. If it would have went traditional IPO, I think it would have had a market capitalization of around 50 billion, in my opinion, even though that probably seems high to me, but it's just like, I mean, you're seeing a lot of companies that should not be valued at $50 billion that don't even have the potential SoFi has, or even the acquisitions that they have. I think that SoFi would definitely be valued at least 25 billion. I mean, at the lowest end, 25 billion. So that would be a 5x right there. So my price per share is probably around like maybe 13, 14, or 15. I haven't checked. I have SoFi spread it out in a lot of accounts though, because I'm just weird like that. I like to look at all my different portfolios. I don't know why, but I do have some in SoFi as well. So I have it on SoFi. So I like that.
Are you still scaling in, just buying on, I guess you can't even say dips anymore, but on $6 right now, for example, are you buying a few shares here and there, or you kind
I
of
bought some today. Yeah.
Yeah,
After
same here.
my talk with Riley, I was like, I need to buy some of that in Open Door, and I did that. I was on a live stream today, and then as soon as we were on it, I was like, I'm buying this because I had nothing to do. So I was buying as much as I really could allow myself to. But anything under $10, I think, is very easy money. Even if you have like a 12 to 6 or 6 to 12 month outlook, I mean, people are going to be like, I wish I would have bought under 10 because this is a $50 company easy.
I think if you have an outlook past May 10th, I mean, this is a stock you can make money on. Obviously, my opinion, but as far as my average cost, I'm in the 14s. I'm right along with LUCIDVERSE. I bought in at 17 majorly. That's actually when I decided to go all in at 17. And so that really has been a motivator for me with doing due diligence, is like, okay, I have a lot of money in this stock and I have a pretty high average cost. I'd like to look more into this. And every time I do, I'm like, okay, let's go buy, 5 shares of SoFi. It's like a daily thing for me. But yeah, I think I'm in complete agreement. I think after May 10th, we're going to shock the stock market. I think everyone's going to realize that it's a tech company. I think this earnings or next is when everyone is going to start to understand SoFi, and everyone who has been bearish against SoFi is going to go, oh, that's what you guys saw that I didn't see. Okay, I'm going to go make it, 10% of my portfolio. And I think that's when you're going to see buyers start stepping in as well.
Yeah, for me, I mean, realistically, what I've been thinking, I still think late quarter 2, quarter 3 is, I think, when we really see a big run. The stock market is not for everyone. I know a lot of people are down big on their positions, and they're saying to themselves, like, what do I do? Do I sell here, put it somewhere else? But I've seen so many people sell at these levels and then go and put it in another company, and then that one drops, So I think you just have to really stick to your research and believe in what you've been doing, and if you really have conviction in what you're doing, I think it's a really good start. For me, I was doing warrants, I guess, when it was IPOE, and I think those ran to like $6, and then they kept running, and I made some money on that. And then when SoFi, the commons were, I think I ended up getting at 13, and then when they did the run, I think I sold some at 17, and then it came back down, and I started scaling in, I think around probably about, I want to say like $10 to $12 range. I just started kind of scaling in. And now that's just what I'm doing. I'm literally just buying 10 shares on down days, And for people asking themselves, hey, when is a good time to get in? The answer is I have no idea. Like, I don't ever want to tell somebody, hey, get in now, it's a good price. What I can say is I would probably start when it's on an uptrend. For example, like today, start scaling in, but don't go all in at once, because I can't predict what's going to happen on earnings or tomorrow or the next day, So for anybody looking to get in, I would say just start scaling in. If you have, if you can just do maybe a small percentage of your portfolio and then just look at that daily and go in, and then I think you're going to be better off that way instead of just saying, you know what, it's $6.50 right now. That's a great price. I'm going to go all in, because we know how it's trading right now. It's a little choppy, but I think down the road, I think we're going to be definitely above 10. I think later on this year, I really see around $10, just to be, I think, something fair. I see $10, and then from there, 2023, I think it's going to be a big year for SoFi.
I mean, we squeezed to like what, 15 a share after our most recent earnings. I think above 10 is a great start, JJ. I did have one question for you guys. What's some stocks on your watch list? What's some that you're like, hey, I know we love SoFi, but we also love these other stocks. What are those stocks?
Mine is Lucid. One of them. That's yeah. Obviously, I think there's a lot of good rebounding going to happen, but you have to find one of those good growth stocks that has a good balance sheet, and I think that is Lucid has that.
Yeah, I have a list of companies I'm buying right now. This is what I do. Like, I just stay up all night. Like, I need more stocks. I like, obviously, SoFi, Open Door, Rocket Labs, Planet Labs, Lucid Motors, CRISPR Therapeutics, which is incredible. I feel like there's 7 or 8 different industries that are going to make higher return on investments than what oil investors made for retail. I mean, you're seeing an incredible amount of industries that are both innovative and disruptive that are absolutely killing it. You look at renewable energies and electric vehicles. You look at genomics that are having insane amounts of FDA approvals and also breakthroughs. And then you're having DNA sequencing. If you look at 23andMe, which is ME, it is a Richard Branson SPAC that they took public. The person that actually owns it is the sister of the person that runs YouTube. And they actually were a DNA kit that was taking everybody's DNA, turning it into a data center, and now it's going to be selling your nutrition and packages like that. If you look at CRISPR Therapeutics, they have a $2 trillion market capitalization. Or no, they have a $2 trillion total addressable market at a $6 billion market capitalization. Absolutely nuts to get into that company. Kathy Woods is a great video on that. Planet Labs, ASTS, which is Space Mobile, it has over 1,000 patents. They call it alien technology. They are the SpaceX of mobile phones, 5-year lead on everybody else. Planet Labs, they have an incredible TED Talk that you can watch. It is a 5-year lead as well as everybody else in small satellites. They are backed by Google as well. You have, what else? There's Astra, which is backed by Bill Gates, and that's his space company. It's his space bets. You could go into ChargePoint if you're looking for charging infrastructure, online betting for DraftKings, cannabis, CGC, maybe Sundial. I could go on. There's a lot more, but all of those companies are going to 10 to 5 or 5 to 10x easily, in my opinion. It's just the market needs to understand them.
My man's got all the stocks. That was impressive. What about you, JJ? What's on your watch list?
Well, I actually hold some Tesla. That's one I probably just won't sell for a while. But the two so long term, I know you're talking about the DMY SPACs with Planet Labs and everything, but the one that I like the most down the road is IonQ. I'm not sure if y'all have read about that one, but oh man, that one's interesting to me. I think that's going to be a huge disruptor, and I think every single sector is going to need their technology. Quantum computing is super difficult to understand, but if you look up some interviews by Niccolo de Masi, he's the guy who the main sponsor of the SPACs. He can give you some really, really good information on how that works. But IonQ is a big one. I think it's going to be a disruptor. The speed, everyone pays for speed right now. All these big companies need to be efficient, and IonQ settles that in so many different aspects in so many different sectors. And then sticking with yeah, have you looked into it?
Yeah, I invested into it as soon as I saw that it was going into a SPAC, and I was actually very impressed with it. It is an incredible company. I also really I invested into this company called Quantum Computing as well. It was on the OTC market. I don't know if it's still there. Maybe it went to NASDAQ, but that company, both of those companies are absolutely amazing in my opinion.
And then the other one, actually, it's also a DMY. Genius Sports. For anybody, I know you mentioned DraftKings and everything. Genius Sports for me is really under the radar right now. The SPAC, the stock has been getting crushed lately, but what they do, they pretty much give all the data rights to every single sports book, pretty much. And now that they secured the deal with the NFL, you have to go through Genius Sports in order to get data from the NFL. So they just finished their first year last year, so I think this year is going to be really, really big time for them. But Genius Sports at these levels, I definitely think it's a buy.
NFL is the majority shareholder, right, on that one?
So they just came out that I think it was about a month ago. They're their highest share owner for Genie in the U.S.
Nice.
But they have deals. With NFL, they have deals with so many different sport leagues. They have sponsor or partnerships with I mean, all the top gambling companies, you know. So
Mhm.
I think it's going to be really, really interesting to see where they're headed. And the guy who actually ran TNT when they were doing Turner Sports before like NCAA was coming over, he's a part of their board, or I think he's either part of the board or he's a CEO. And then they also have the guy who brought on ESPN in the 80s. So, I mean, they have really, really top talent, and I'm excited for them.
Nice. Just because I was the one that asked the question, I'll go last. Mine are DM. I'm just gonna go with ticker symbols here. Palantir, ZEV. I will never shut up about ZEV, man. They're so undervalued. It is ridiculous. The one of their biggest people, I guess, worked for Tesla and actually fixed one of the problems that Tesla couldn't figure out. His name is Bill Kelly. If you do an article search on Bill Kelly, you'll find where he fixed one of the problems with, I think, the Tesla, one of their earlier models. And then Open Door is a huge one for me. I really like that one. Butterfly. Butterfly is one that it's like one of my 10 hat stocks. You know, everyone's got their 10 hat stocks. Butterfly is one of mine. Hyliion, I think absolutely is going to 10x within a few years. GGPI, obviously. Polestar, absolutely love that company. ChargePoint, they're a big one for me. Microvast, all these battery tech companies, no one understands them. Proterra, another battery company. Lucid, battery company. No one understands what they're actually doing. It's kind of like SoFi. Everyone thinks they're just doing these EVs, when in the back, they're actually creating batteries. And then Rocket Lab, my boy LUCIDVERSE got me on that one. Looked into that company, was very impressed. I wrote INOQ and Genie on there. And then my super like 10 hat stocks are Pear, PEAR. I know me and Financial Journey talked about this. They're actually up 8% today. I just checked. So that would be, I think, their second day in a row that they've been up 8%. They do some weird therapeutic stuff that I don't understand, but I'm friends with a few people in the medical field, and they were telling me about that stock and really impressed with them. Olaplex, they're another one of those that 10 hat stock. They've got price targets of $35, $40, and they're also another really good one. And then EAF, which is Graph Tech International. I got a friend in the construction business. He was telling me that that graphene is basically going to replace steel. So I looked into them. Really interesting company. Those are my 10 hat. Who knows what's going to happen with them? I'm not invested. They're on my watch list. I watch them every now and then. But yeah, all of those stocks are really interesting to me. But I actually have to go. So I will see you guys on the next video that we do. Hope everyone has a great day. And as always, not financial advice. You guys have a great day.
Yeah, thanks for coming out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
absolutely.
So actually with that, was there anything else that you guys wanted to bring up? Any topics?
No, other than Palantir is awesome. I totally forgot about that one. And Desktop Metals is amazing. After they took over X1, I started buying them big. That was the second competitor in 3D printing, and that was back in like 2020. That is an amazing company. I completely forgot about that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, with earnings coming up May 10th, are you guys thinking about doing something?
Yeah,
Maybe
we
have a little
should.
video or something?
Yeah, we should
Cover
definitely.
it up or something? Yeah, let's get something going. I think that'd be interesting. A lot of people probably be interested in that too, just to see what we hit, what we missed on, and then see if there's any catalysts to talk about and kind of just go from there.
You think we can talk to someone to get a question in? Like a open source question for the entire community?
On
I
earnings?
think it would be cool. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, anything's possible, man. I keep seeing people actually asking questions to, I believe it's like SoFi Investor, their page, and they answer really quickly and everything. So I don't know. I don't know how that works, but that'd be pretty interesting. I think in our little chat, we can maybe come up with something narrow it down and see if we can all, as a group, come down to maybe one or two really good questions and see if we can get an answer.
Yeah,
That'd be cool.
yeah, it's funny. I did a tweet. It's like, hey, come to Canada. And then I got SOFI support that responded to me, and was like, we're working diligently to expand our progresses. I'm like, okay, that's awesome. Just the mere fact that you responded, it's amazing.
No, I saw somebody, I don't know if it was true or not, but somebody was like, I just paid off my girls' loans. I love SOFI. And he was like, I wish I could get some gear. And somebody messaged from SOFI saying, hey, we just DM'd you. Send us like your address pretty much so we can send you some gear. I was like, damn, that'd be nice. I can't wait till they start doing that too, by the way, is getting some gear.
That's what I'm
That'd be
doing
cool.
right now. As soon as I get off of this,
Right?
just make up a fake family. Just like, my family just paid off their house. Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
Cool. I appreciate you guys having me on. Look forward to earnings. And stock right now is at 651, 652, up 3.14, or actually 3.2%. So let's see if we can get a strong close today.
Yeah, let's do it, guys. I appreciate you guys coming on. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up, subscribe. Also, in the comments below, you got LUCIDVERSE. I'm going to also put TraderJJ and also King of Conviction, all of their Twitter, YouTubes. We're all very versed on a lot of different things, so make sure you guys subscribe and follow absolutely everyone that was on here. Clearly a good panel. But with that, guys, thanks for coming out, and let's all make a lot of money on SOFI.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.